Hi there. So something that I wanted to start doing this year was sharing reviews of books that I've been reading. Partly to encourage me to read more of the books that I really want to read, and also because I really enjoy sharing what I've read about and finding out what other people have got from that as well. So if you've read any of the books that I'm mentioning, I'd love to hear what you thought about them. So today I'm going to be focusing on the first one that I finished in 2018. It's the 1st of January 2018, but I did start this at Christmas. So this was a book that I got for Christmas. It was on my wish list, and it is by Grayson and it's called The Descent of Man. So this is a book, as you might imagine, about masculinity. So it says on the back, men, there are a lot of them about. We all know one. Grayson Perry is one. But what makes a man? How does masculinity operate? Could it be in need of an urgent upgrade? Here, Grayson looks at how it could make the world a better place for everyone. And I was really excited by this. It had been recommended to me by a friend, a colleague who I actually work with on as part of a Mindful Leadership for Women programme. So you can probably get the fact that this is something that interests me. It's always something that interests me, actually. When I did my undergraduate degree, I did my dissertation on sport stereotyping for men and women, or particularly for boys and girls. I was a gymnast when I was younger, and I had many male friends through gymnastics, but as we started to approach puberty, many of them stopped doing gymnastics because they got picked on, or it wasn't cool for boys to be doing gymnastics. It was seen as a sort of sissy sport, that kind of thing. And it really interested me that the things that we do say a lot to other people about our masculinity or femininity. So it's something that's always interested me, and it's something that I think we are learning more about as a society. I've read a lot of books. I'm a feminist, and I've read a lot of books about how women can do their part to bring equality to the world. And this particular book is great because this is written from a male's perspective about masculinity and about how we can kind of bring that sense of equality, but also from the masculine side as well as from the feminine side. So we talk a lot about women stepping up. This is more talking about what can men do to reduce the pressure on them and change that view of what masculinity means. And he talks really honestly about his experience. For those of you who don't know, Grayson Perry is a transvestite, so he likes to dress in women's clothes sometimes. I mean, this is someone who has probably struggled, and he talks about this a little bit in the book, about his masculinity and what that means for him as a man. And so it's quite interesting to hear his perspective on his own struggles with masculinity and what it means to be more masculine, and how that's helped him, and also how that's hindered him, and how that is helping people in society, but more so how it's hindering people in society. So it talks about quite a few different things that have shaped the way that society is around masculinity. It talks about the pressure that men feel to be a certain way. It's quite a short book, so it's only 150 pages, something like that. Less than 150 pages. It starts with an introduction to if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and so it talks about the situation that society is in at the moment. And then there's a chapter on asking fish about water. So that's where he starts to talk about what it's really like in terms of the male privilege and the fact that men may not realise that there is an issue, but actually that they're being held under a lot of pressure from this department of masculinity that he refers to, and that's what the second chapter talks about, the department of masculinity. And then he talks about the nostalgic man, talks a little bit about sort of what it means to be a man, a gentleman, and what women want from men, or men want from other men. Throughout the book it has diagrams such as this one here, and there are quite a few throughout the book of these sort of diagrams and cartoons kind of interdispersed during the chapters, which makes it quite fun. They're quite interesting to read. It's not very empirically based. It doesn't have a lot of research necessarily within the book. So if you're looking for sort of research, then there's not that much in there. There is some, there's not that much. It's more about experience and about how his own perspective, which I think is really valuable, and about what we might be able to do to help society in future in terms of the way that we think about masculinity. I think it's a really important conversation that needs to happen more frequently. I think that we need to be talking about equality from both sides, and also we need to be less, and I do this myself, I've just done it then, need to be less binary about men, women, masculinity, femininity. We don't live in a world where we subscribe to these two different types of people necessarily, and I think it's really interesting that we still often, in our own ways, are held back by our own impressions of what it means to be masculine or feminine, and how we portray that in ourselves and how we put that onto other people as well. So I thought it was a really thought-provoking book. It's made me think more about the way that I treat people, the way that I treat myself, and also things like children and how we are influencing children. So I thought it was a really interesting book, quite a quick read, thought-provoking, nothing too heavy, really good if you're interested in this sort of area but don't want anything that's too theoretical or too heavy going. So yeah, first book of 2017 read, and something that I enjoyed and would definitely recommend to other people if you're interested in these sorts of topics. The next book that I'm going to be reading, I'm not sure, I might read a fiction book next, but I also have a planning book that I'm working through, so I might do a review of how I'm using that. And I also have some non-fiction books that I want to read. I'm currently working towards a coaching qualification, so I have some books that I would like to read for that. And I had a number of books for Christmas actually, so a couple of those are things that I might review in the next few weeks or months, depending on how it goes. But I thought it would be interesting to share a book review. I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you've read this book and you have some thoughts on this book, please do add your thoughts into the comments. I'd love to get a discussion going about what you think about this topic, whether you've read the book or not. And if you would like to read the book, I'll put a link in the description box so that you can purchase the book if you wish to. And I would love to hear your thoughts on what you've been reading and things that you recommend as well on this topic or other topics. I'm open-minded in terms of the reading that I'd like to do this year. So thank you very much for watching. As I say, if you'd like to see more of these book reviews, please do subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!